I'm Helen Drum and this is APUSH News 7. Tonight's feature will be on Cuba. To go or not to go? That is the question. First, let us visit the region in question. We have Eddie Longname on the scene. Eddie?
Helen Drum, I'm here in Cuba, and let me tell you, it's a mess. The Spanish have Cuban revolutionaries at concentration camps. They are preventing any of them from contacting civilians to strengthen the rebellion. The conditions within the camps are horrid. And the country was stripped of its population by the order of concentration. It is easy to believe that 400,000 persons were gathered behind the forts without being given food, medicines, or means of any kind to earn a living, except where in larger cities some could find employment in small offices. Judging by the orphans I was shown at Jacoba and Adacoa and elsewhere, and from all I saw and heard, I believe that one half of the 400,000 have died as a result of starvation. There is no way that America can stand for this blatant abuse against humanity, and treatment here cannot go on. Americans must intervene. To leave Cuba in this state would be a sin.
Truly horrifying to think of. Thank you for that great reporting. It is truly sad to think that one human being could do something like that to another. Tonight we have Tatanka, a supporter of intervening in Cuba.
That was wonderful field reporting. The conditions here are truly horrific. The situation can't go on any longer, and that is why America must help. Spain has stationed General Butcher Weiler to take command in Cuba. The war between Cuba and Spain is endangering the lives of Cubans and American investments. Cuba is a country rich in sugar, and Americans have 50 million invested in Cuba and a trade investment of 100 million. Acquiring Cuba is a geographical possession, seeing as it is a natural position to the United States. In the hands of a powerful nation, it would carry with it so complete a control over the commerce of the Gulf of Mexico. The island of Cuba is vulnerable to change, most likely in the next 2 to 3 years. Without the interest of the United States, Cuba will most likely fall into the hands of Mexico or Colombia, or rise up as an independent nation with a white minority. Because of this, it is not only for the best interests of the United States to acquire Cuba, but it is also the responsibility of Americans to help this country.
A solid argument, Tatanka. How do you propose we help out our poor Cuban friends?
Well, I believe that Spain has been weakened by the Cubans' guerrilla-style fighting. A strong blockade in the Santiago harbor could cut off any of the Spanish armada. Then I propose an invading force could drive out any Spanish troops. Our fierce soldiers, in conjunction with the Cuban insurrectors, could free Cuba from Spain forever.
That is quite a plan. There's no way the Spaniards could beat our forces. I say onward to victory. Anyway, we now have a word from our sponsors.
Compre azucara ahora. Cuba tiene el mejor en el Caribe por un tiempo limitado solo, porque el país será invadido.
We're back. We have a avid Jose Marti supporter with us. Thanks for being here, Oglethorpe.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me on the broadcast.
So I understand you believe in the principles of Mr. Marti. Can you explain his views a little bit?
Sure. Marti believed in a free Cuba that could govern itself. American interference would be inexcusable and ignorant. We must prevent the Americans who would interfere in Cuba and cause the error of trying to adopt foreign models of an uncertain dogma related only to their own American beliefs, to the ingenious reality of countries that knew nothing of liberty except that their own eagerness to attain it and the pride they won while fighting for it. Any American help will only lead to their greed and control of Cuba. Cuba is for the Cubans. It is hypocritical for Americans to want to rule our great country. They were founded because they wanted to bring freedom to the oppressed colonies and create a government for the people, by the people. They do not have the consent of the governed in Cuba.
Well, that is a nice point, but I don't think you'd be able to get your independence from Spain without any American help. You've been fighting them for quite a long time.
Well, that's true, but...
I'm sorry to cut you off, Oglethorpe, but we've got some breaking news. The USS Maine, an American ship, has been sent to Cuba to protect and evacuate Americans living there. Unfortunately, it has just exploded in Havana Harbor. My sources tell me that the Spanish ninjas had planted a bomb on the USS Maine and detonated it, killing 260 sailors. I'm told we have some footage. Shame on you. My fellow Americans, this is truly a heinous act on the part of the Spanish. We must remember the Maine. To hell with Spain. Anyway, thank you to our guests and viewers. This will be all for our broadcast. Stay classy, okay, friends?